Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Thursday, August 29th, 2024. So, did you do the crossword?
I did do the crossword.
And at the end of the crossword, did you find yourself wondering what day of the week is it?
No.
Okay, fine.
Why did you find this not to be a typical Thursday puzzle?
That is correct. I thought it was a Saturday or whatever day comes after Saturday before Sunday when they let the really tough constructors out to play.
No, I did not get that feeling. I thought, oh, it's a Thursday. There's a rebus.
Okay. I guess I should have led with that. But no, I found this very difficult. I couldn't figure out what was going on with the theme. I thought a lot of the other clues were not particularly easy. I was exhausted when I did this.
Oh.
In my defense. And so it just seemed like I was, I don't know, wading through jelly. I don't know if I really have ever done that, so I should be able to use that as an experience. It felt like one of those Tai Chi things. I was just moving in slow motion.
Oh my.
And but I take it this did not affect you in that same way.
No, it did not.
Wow. I salute you.
Well, thank you.
You must have just known the answers.
I knew quite a few of them, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it was more challenging than a Thursday. I will give you that.
Okay.
But it was a rebus, so that's kind of a typical Thursday puzzler.
Right, but how this rebus worked, and here's the thing: there was a revealer. I couldn't get the revealer, and because I couldn't get the revealer, I was like lost.
Oh,
because it's just like if I knew what this was, I mean there were a fair number of hard crosses for that rebus.
Right.
Sorry, for that revealer.
Yes.
For example, it started off, the very first letter came off of 24 down. 24 down being the first in a series of Norwegian kings, and it was Olaf the First.
That's right.
I can never tell if it should be Olaf or Olav.
Yes, I know. In this case, it was Olaf.
Right, but it could have been Olav, right?
Sometimes it is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, presumably there's only one first Norwegian king, so they have to decide, are you an Olaf or are you an Olav? But anyway, so I didn't know that one. The second letter came out of, actually I was able to sort of get this, but 2 down had a thing for crushed on.
Right.
And that is a little tricky. The next one down was sprawling shopping centers. I actually did get the part that gave me the L of the revealer, and it was some sort of malls.
Mega mall.
It had originally put down area malls.
Oh, what's an area mall?
Well, that's a very good question. I was just thinking it's a mall that's in the area.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually I realized that mega sounded a lot better.
Definitely fit better.
Well, because it did say sprawling, an area, it could be a small area. Anyway.
That's 3 down, and 2 down was crushed on.
Yes,
yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
41 down, the sports org that was founded by Billie Jean King, and that was WTA.
Right.
I thought it was maybe NTA, the National Tennis Association.
No.
It's the World Tennis Association.
I think it's the Women's Tennis Association.
Oh. Good point.
Remember Billie Jean King?
Yes.
No.
Yes, indeed. So I fought for every single letter just about on that revealer. And even after I got the revealer, I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. So why don't you talk about the theme?
Okay. Well, let's talk about the revealer since we've been talking about
Yes.
it. 40 across went the length of the puzzle. That was the revealer clue. And it was crucial. I mean, it did help, at least it helped me. The clue was what one must do using the circled letters to solve this puzzle. And the answer was follow directions. And so there were 4 circled squares. And what you had to put in them was a rebus of a direction, either north, south, east, or west.
I'd like to point out you only have to put those in if you want to solve the crossword.
Right.
I had another strategy. Okay.
So the first one was at the conjunction of 22 across and 8 down. And if you read, you always had to start with the across clue. And then from there, you either moved north, south, east, or west. But the 22 across was musical interval like C to E flat. And you only had 3 letters. So I knew, well, it's either going to be major or minor. So I thought, okay. And I got the M and the I. So I thought, well, it's minor. But then I'm like, where do you put the minor and the rest of it? But then 8 down was nothing. So
okay, when you say there was
it was just a dash, meaning that it is a continuance of some other clue.
some other answer.
Some other answer, yes. So I thought, oh, okay, so you're going to go minor and go up. And I had the R there, but then it's like, well, that R, eventually I figured out, the R was okay, but the O for minor didn't work because 19 across, exhausting, was wearing out. And there had to be an I there. And then the last letter up there was a D for 8 across, which was Challenger example. And the answer to that was Dodge Challenger. So I'm like, I don't have enough squares to put in what I think is the right answer. So then when it's like, I see the revealer, follow directions, I thought, oh, you go up, but up, wouldn't fit in the circle. That didn't make any sense. But then when I thought directions like north, south, east, west, you put north in there and you get minor with a TH and then an IRD going north. So you got a minor third chord, which is exactly what a musical interval from C to E flat is.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how you solve the puzzle. The next one was 46 across that crossed with 5 down. And 46 across that was actually the continuance.
Yes.
So you have to start at 5 down. Question from an impatient negotiator. And it went so, where, do, and then you have the circle, and then 46 across has 3 extra squares. So 46 across is going to the west, is going to the left or west. So if you put west in the circle, you get so, where, do, we, and you have ST and 46 across A and D going to the west. So where do we stand? Which is a pretty good answer for 5 down. Question from an impatient negotiator.
Yep.
So where do we stand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then we had 42 down, which crossed with 49 across. And this is where I finally figured out what they were doing. Because 42 down was furniture outlet with an average size of 300,000 square feet or 5,000 or 5 football fields. And I thought, it's got to be IKEA. And indeed, the first 2 squares were IK, and then you had the circled square. And if you put EAST in there, you get IKEA ST, and then you've got 3 squares to the east, which filled in with ORE if you did the downs. So that gives you IKEA store. So I was trying to think with follow directions. I had the IK, and then I had the circled square, and then there was another circled square just catty-cornered to that one, to the lower left of it. And I thought, maybe you have to go from that. You put an E in that one and an A in the other one, but That didn't work. And then eventually I figured, follow directions, put a direction in there, and then go that direction to fill out the rest of it. So you get a Kia store. And then the last one was 53 across and 54 down. 53 across was keeps the faith, and you get hold, H-O-L-D, and then the circled square. If you put in south, you get hold, S-O-U-T-H, and then going down, 54 down, if you solve it right, it's O-P-E in the squares. So holds out hope is the answer to that one.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be a lot easier to describe this if I could actually show people, but this is a podcast.
Right.
So I did the best I could.
Yep.
But anyway.
And if we put the picture in the show notes, we'd have to pay the New York Times $500.
That's right. That's right. But I thought it was very clever, but it was very challenging.
See, I started off by putting, because I realized, like, for example, 22 across had to be something to do with major or minor. Mm-hmm. And so what I did was I wrote M-I-N. Let's see, I'm trying to get nope. X-word info is giving me grief today. Interesting. So what I tried to do was I wrote M-I-N, and I thought, perhaps I have to write O-R above it.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
So I just took for each of those four squares, I put the first letter of the direction in them. So I had minor because I had wero. I wasn't sure where I was going to go with wero instead of wearing out. But I mean, I started off there with weary because it was exhausted, and I wasn't sure where to go from there. Let's see, this was 19 across, exhausting. And so I was thinking it had something to do with being weary. So I was sort of messed up there. And then with the IKEA store, I went I-K-E for the circled square. And then to the right of it, I wrote A. And so I had IKEA R. And I thought, okay. Actually, it was IKEA R-E. And I just sort of ignored that because I didn't know what to do with it. I'm not sure what led me to actually write in. I think it might have been the one with holds out hope. Oh. Because first I had for that, for 53 across, keeps the faith, I started off with heeds. I'm not sure why, but if you heed somebody, you sort of obey them. I don't know. It somehow felt like it might work. Did I mention I was exhausted when I was working on this?
Well, I can understand doing that because if you got the H and then that O was the last letter in 36 down, A1, I put prime.
Yeah, me too.
P-R-I-M-E.
Yes,
so
that's
I thought it was going to be an H-E word too, but then I figured out it was hold.
Well, the next one, I bet you knew 31 down, the actress in the Avatar and Avengers franchises, Zoe Saldana.
Yes, I did know that.
See, once I figured it out, I'm like, oh yeah, her. Mm-hmm. But to do a crossword, it's supposed to work in the other direction. You read the clue and then you say, oh yeah, and then write down the answer. In my case, I have to wait till the answer is there and then recognize it. Mm-hmm. So, and even then I'm like, oh, that's how you spell Saldana. Okay. So I didn't have enough letters there to go to disprove heeds as a hypothesis. Uh-huh. And then I had the same problem with 37 down. Founder of a Persian religion, Zoroaster.
Yes.
Now, that Z came from 37 across ant in Italian. And as we all know, ant in Italian is tia, except that's Spanish, isn't it?
That is correct, yes.
See, for once I remember Spanish, and it's not really relevant.
No.
So I wrote down tia, and so I had something that was of the form Toroaster. I mean, eventually I had to play with various parts of it. Because I'll tell you, it was 64 across, part of an iris. The answer was petal.
Right.
But the iris is also part of an eye. And also in the eye, you will find the pupil. And so I had pupil in there for a while.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I had the E and the A and the L. So I thought, well, it could be sepal,
yes,
or it could be petal.
I thought about sepal at one point too. Mm-hmm. But previously I started off with pupil. Uh-huh. So, anyway, it was just, this is just a mess as far as I'm concerned. A brilliant mess. I mean, this was by Simeon Siegel, who has written, I think the last crossword they wrote was also sort of difficult. Let's see. Simeon has done a total of 14, 1 Saturday, 0 Fridays. See, that's incorrect. He's done at least 2 Saturdays. This is one of them. It just showed up on a Wednesday by accident. Or a Thursday. Boy, I'm having trouble with days again. Like I said at the beginning, what day of the week is it?
Thursday was a challenging puzzle too, so
This is
maybe
Thursdays.
this is hard.
No, this is Thursdays.
I mean, Wednesday was kind of a challenge.
Okay, we need a calendar here when we're doing the podcast so we can consult days of the week.
This is tough week. Joel has deemed this to be the tough week in New York Times crosswords.
Well, maybe.
We'll see what Friday brings.
Right. I mean, even starting at the very beginning with 1 down, wanted notice for short. I thought it was going to be ads because you have want ads. And then I thought, it's going to be ISO, in search of. But it was APB, all points bulletin.
Right.
I wonder if they still.
See, I thought it was going to be like AKA, like something that would be on a wanted poster.
Right.
Like, an alias. They say, John Smith, AKA the enforcer.
Right. But the clue is pretty explicit. Wanted notice. So,
well,
I mean, it's something that is put out and needs to be seen. But let's see. We had, trying to think 27 across caused me enormous grief because I went term for a swab. And it's like, I know this one because I had it ending in EY and I thought it's limey. And I was very proud of the fact that I knew the origin of the word limey. Do you know the origin of the word limey?
Does this have something to do with scurvy?
Yes, lack of lime. Once they figured out that scurvy could be cured by eating limes, they all would eat lots of limes. They called them limeys. So it's just like, it's got to be limey. And boy, it's hard when you've got 2 letters, 3 letters that you fervently believe in and are incorrect.
Yes.
For instance, 11 down. Win like a loser. Now that one's tough. Turns out to 11 down, win like a loser. And the answer is gloat, which is a brilliant answer.
Right.
But I had gloam for a while. Even when I did figure out that Challenger EG was a Dodge, I was like, okay, the Challenger is a type of space shuttle.
Yes.
How am I going to get this into 5 letters?
Yes, I thought the same thing.
I had rocket instead of rocket. And I had shut, SHUTT.
Those car names, they get me every time.
Yes.
I just don't know enough about cars. That's sort of my bane in the crossword puzzle. I just do not know those.
Well, if that's your bane, you're doing better than me, because remember, my banes are food, Spanish, and that's pretty, and drinks, alcoholic drinks, right? That's pretty much 90% of all the clues. I wonder if Joel Fagliano is an overweight drunk. Probably not. And Joel, I would like to apologize publicly for if even contemplated such an act. But the things we do for our art. 31 across. Suit type for Cab Calloway. Zoot.
A zoot suit, yes.
Yeah, so obviously you knew that.
I knew that,
I could tell
yes.
from how fast you recited that. I did not know that. I'm trying to remember if the last time we had Zoot as a clue or an answer, if Cab Calloway was involved, because I don't even know what a Zoot suit is.
Oh, it's a certain kind of cut of suit that's got like really wide lapels and sort of baggy pants. Yeah.
Okay.
Cab Calloway.
Who is it?
Always wore them.
Who's Cab Calloway when he's at home?
He's an entertainer. He was a singer.
Okay.
A musician. Yeah.
So I didn't know that, which caused grief. I'll tell you, because 27 down, words on a state license plate. At first I had lakes, and I thought
lakes.
Well,
what do you mean by that?
Words on a state license plate. Minnesota has 10,000 lakes.
Okay, well that's Minnesota. But not every license plate has that.
It says words on a state license plate, not all of them. And of course, the trouble is it says,
sort of inferred that it could be any of them.
well, not only did I decide it could be just on a state license plate, I looked at the word words and thought lakes is words because you'd have multiple license plates. It was an act of rationalization I'm very proud of. Anyway, it didn't help me at all because the correct answer for 27 down was motto,
That is correct.
which made a lot more sense.
Yes, it did.
Let's see. What else did I not know? I mean, pretty much every single clue in this crossword. How about 61 across? 61 across, spouse to a trophy husband, perhaps. Sugar mama.
Right.
At some point, I was going for sugar mummy.
Oh, uh-huh.
And because I didn't know Zoe Saldana, I had Zoe Saldana. The one underneath that, Coalition of Skilled Workers, was trade union.
That's right.
That was interesting. I like we had 51 down because we've seen this clue at least twice, or this answer at least twice. Edge of a metro area, exurb.
Right.
I do like that word.
Yes, uh-huh. Yes, I knew that because I thought, oh, we've had this.
And I think the one next to it, I think there's always hope for a civilization when they pause to think about 52 down, senators' garments once, togai, as opposed to togas.
Right.
If you have a society sufficiently advanced that it can try and debate whether or not it's togas or togai, it probably will survive long term.
Right. Well, I already had the E when I filled that in. I'm like, oh, I hope it's togai because I didn't want to have to put an S there.
Well, yeah, because 68 across was beads, small stuff to sweat.
Right.
Let's see. What else did they have? Lots of stuff. I liked 70 across. Skywriting, spelled S-K-Y-E.
Yes.
And it was Urs.
Urs. Yeah, boy, that took me a while. I worked a long time in that corner.
Really?
Because I was going from pedal to sepal, and I wasn't quite sure about 67 across, not just any. And the answer to that was every. And so I thought, well, I just thought that could be several things, but and then 60 down, blank moved, sign in an empty shop's window. I thought, well, it's got to be weave,
right?
And it's spelled W-E-V-E.
V-E, sure.
But I thought, I don't know if that's right, but I couldn't think of anything else. So anyway, I was having a lot of angst in that corner.
Well, but for
should I put it in? Should I take it out?
But for 59 across, dozed. I'm sorry, singular or
Doze.
present tense. Doze intermittently was drowse. Did you not have that?
Well, no, I did not.
See, I was able to get that, and so I had the W, but
no, because I didn't know 48 down. Obsolescent data storage option for short. It was CDR. What's that stand for?
Oh, probably compact disc, like readable.
Oh, okay. Because I put I had the C, but I put maybe CPU. Would that have been something that would fit there?
Not for data storage. The CPU does the calculations. It's sort of like the brains of the computer.
Okay.
But yes.
Anyway, so I didn't have that, and I just kept putting letters in and taking them out, and eventually it solved. So
well, it sounds though that you had less trouble than I did.
Right, and I mean, I knew the answer to 37 down, but I wasn't quite sure how it was spelled. Zoroaster, but
So at least you knew the answer.
yes.
I mean, it pretty much is exactly how it sounds. Zoroaster.
Right, but I wasn't quite sure even how it was pronounced. I wanted to put Z-O-R-A, and then I wanted to put another R, but I'm like, no, I got to end it with like stir. So anyway, I was just kind of flouncing around down there, but eventually I got it all filled in. I did know 65 down, very basic cleaner, lie.
Right.
So I had that much, but I didn't have a lot of the rest. But eventually it all fell together. and I got it done.
So we actually had a very basic cleaner show up twice, right? Mm-hmm. We had it in 65 down, and then somewhere else in here I thought we had very basic cleaner, 63 down, and that was mop.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was sort of cute. And then had the best time, say, 58 down, was 1.
Right.
I put that down, couldn't believe it, but it was true.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, this crossword wore me out. It is a Thursday, so I should have been thinking more about rebuses, but I liked having that single letter and circling it, and I loved spending all this time gnashing my teeth. So, in short, a brilliant crossword by Simeon Siegel. Well done.
Yep.
I think 5 squares on the Jam CR scale.
I would give it 5.
I'd give it 5.5 if we could, but we can't. There are rules. All right. Well, that's it for today, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Let us know what you thought about today's crossword podcast at iCloud.com. And we will be back again with our patented, trademarked, copyrighted analysis of tomorrow's crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.